WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We are positively taking the Maryland Crab Cake Tour back out on the road Friday morning, good and early. And what a weekend it's going to be. This segment's going to be good. It's all brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. Letting ourselves play. I have some holiday cash drops to give away, as well as our friends at Win Donation, 866-90Nation, bringing the Crab Cake Tour to Catonsville. So I'm going to be in Catonsville Friday morning, and I'm from Dundalk, so the east side of town, right at the edge where the city meets the county. Little comedy going on this weekend and a real homecoming. And my wife's used to me being in here talking to celebrities and all that, but my wife heard that Tommy Davidson was coming to town. She started like ripping in living color lines and having a good time and movie lines and all that. So it is a pleasure to welcome home, but on my program for the very first time, the great Tommy Davidson. Not even talking comedy. We're going to talk smooth jazz. You're so inspired, Tommy. How are you, man?
Things are going great, man. In the smooth jazz space, I made it. Put it that way. I made it in.
How do you know you
You know,
made
I,
it? When do
I,
you
I,
know
I
you made it in
well,
smooth
well,
jazz?
well. First of all, I'm working with the top guys and girls in that business. And my song was accepted. So I did a song called "Sweet Reunion" with Dave Koz, and it went really well. And then my next one, the recent release is called "I Know," and it's with Richard Elliott, and both of those guys are established, been around a long time. But on top of that, really great guys that love entertainment. And so this year, my first year in smooth jazz, I get nominated for the Breakout Artist of the Year.
I mean,
So
that's unbelievable, right?
I ain't win, but I did. But no, but I did because I'm the Breakout Artist of the Year.
So the smooth jazz thing, we got to
I
talk about
literally
this because
am.
I'm a writer, like by trade. Like my first vocation was a sports writer in the 80s. Like you used to be a comedian back in the day down on the DC
Mhm.
Beltway and playing up here and being around. But smooth jazz, the last 15 years of my life, ever since I discovered that television had music channels and I would go around, I'm like,
Right.
that's kind of nice. I listened to a ton of Dave Koz. I actually got a picture with Dave Koz in Cuba about 23 years ago. He went down there and did this
Really?
exchange. Yeah, I was there
Right,
for
right.
baseball and long story. Bodegita Del Medio, Andy Summers from the Police, crazy stuff. But Dave Koz and smooth jazz, it is sort of, I don't want to say my guilty pleasure, but it's a thing you don't brag. I mean, I have bragged out on social media that I do get inspired by smooth jazz. But where does this thing come into you? Were you a smooth
Yeah.
jazz guy?
For a long, long time, for probably it probably started around 87 or something, right before I got to LA and got into TV and movies and stuff like that. And I've always been influenced by great music because I come from the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, and that now is the DMV. And there was all this influx of different music. And that was one of the ones that caught my ear early in my childhood and throughout because we had great radio and great music in that area. But I fixed on it um, because it seemed like the right door to go through to go into music. You see, I can go into music in any genre I want to because for me, I believe that I can do music well in any genre. But I want to go in and I want to make the effort a genuine effort every single time. Not going into rock and going, I'm doing rock because I can do it, but going to rock because I got this great song that's killing, with Slash and members of Alice in Chains, and you do it with some people that I know can do a great job with me, know me, love me, and we can make some people happy out there. And hip hop, the same thing, and whatever is next, the same thing. But what's most important to me is I don't want to go out there and say, hey, look, I'm a singer. Check this out. And I'm subject to someone on the couch in Buffalo, someone on a living room couch on their porch in Buffalo saying, I hate his music. He's some critic. You know what I mean? I don't want the bathroom stalls, you know, and I'll explain this to you. I don't want the bathroom stalls to have any power. You know, social media is great to get your stuff out there, you know, but it's not so great to keep your stuff out there because it's not really the place of quality. It's the place of popularity. And I'm about quality. first. So I wanted to go somewhere where I can go to an audience that really digs me, knows about me, understands that I'm an artist, understands what the music is, and goes to the shows.
Were you a musical guy as a kid growing up, DC? I mean, did you do? I should say My Fair Lady because it just played here at the Hippodrome, and I took my middle
Oh
school
yeah, oh, yeah.
teacher, and I was in My Fair Lady in 1981. But were
Right,
you a
right, right.
singer in that way before you were an actor, comedian?
Yeah, wait, 4 years old. Uh, a spoon on the table in front of an audience. I was just talking to a friend of mine that grew up with me in Silver Spring, and he said, I remember from first grade to fifth grade, you were like killing every talent show. You were, singing. I thought you were going to be a singer, man.
Right.
Yeah, and me too. Me too. Then comedy happened,
Did
and that's a
comedy
great.
come easy for you? I mean, it always felt like in that troupe in the beginning. I mean, for anybody seeing your face and coming out to see you this weekend, and you're doing 5 shows on my side of town here this weekend on championship game weekend. We're going to let everybody know how to get tickets and get involved and come out and see your act. But
I got a question for you for that, by the way, but go ahead.
I see you and I think, oh, Tommy, living comedy. I mean, you've been making us laugh all this time. I don't want to say it's typecasted for anybody because you've done
Right,
all
right,
sorts of things, right? I mean, and
right,
you're
right.
clearly fearless. And part of the comedian that makes you fearless makes you unafraid to fail, I'm sure, right?
I mean, there's no such thing for me. I make an effort. You like it, you don't. Hey, I did it. I did it. I was watching a documentary on the guy that invented the 240Z, and he was in his backyard. He was doing his bonsai plants. All he got for what he did was like this Rolex watch from the corporation, and he was back there talking about the car. But he said, I think that I can make a sports car from Japan that can trump every sports car in Europe and the US and be the best seller. And he did it. So the guy goes to him and says, hey, man, you did all that and they only gave you a Rolex. How do you feel about that? He said, I don't feel any kind of way about that. I had the idea.
Bragging rights, as it were.
It's my idea.
Right on. So did
Yeah.
you go to
So,
Dave? I mean, how did this come together? You did a Kenny Loggins song, right? To kind of pop out of this thing, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm influenced by everything. Kenny Loggins is one of the guys that influenced me from way back before In Living Color. One of the guys I looked up to as a skilled artist and wanted to be like. I mean, you already know that, right? I mean, Kenny just crosses, you know, uh, dun, 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 uh, heart to heart. If anything lasts forever, I don't know. Maybe we're never the end. Oh, darling, no. How can we go on together? Now that we can grow apart. It's the only way to start. Heart to heart.
You're a
Come on,
yacht
man.
rock guy, aren't you, Tommy Davidson? You Mr.
I'm
Yacht Rock.
I'm yacht rock. I'm hip hop. I'm I'm rock. I'm thick rock. I'm rush. I'm rush. I'm all of it.
Really? You and Getty
Oh,
Lee
come
getting
on.
it going. Well, you're gonna be doing an
Come
event.
on.
So I say you're at the Comedy Factory this weekend here in Baltimore. You're doing 5 shows, 2 on Friday night, 2 on Saturday at some different times. So make sure you got to BaltimoreComedy.com. Learn more about everything going on over in O'Donnell Street and the Heights on my side of town, as I would say.
It's
So,
great.
so are you gonna sing
It's
like
great.
you just did? Are you doing? You gonna do Michael McDonald this weekend too,
It
or
it
no?
it it, it I never know. I get into. Did you see Minority Report? Anybody see the movie Minority Report?
No, I did not see. I did not see
Okay,
that.
in the beginning of in the movie, he moves all these images around to find out who the killer is. Well, for me, I move all these images around to find who's going to laugh at what. So I look at audiences, I go, okay, that didn't work, but I'll do this and I'll do that. But once I find it, I drill a hole and I dig in, And I've been really lucky, man. Really, really lucky, and I can thank the radio too, from where we're from and the era we're from. I may be a little bit older than you, but anywhere from
You're just a little
1960.
older now. I got the wiki
Okay,
on you.
okay,
I know, just
okay,
a little
okay,
bit.
okay, okay, just a little bit, okay.
I'll be
But
55 this year,
yeah,
so don't
okay,
treat me like
okay,
a
okay,
spring chicken.
okay. I think he might be the same age as the Ravens coach. So um 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 so AM radio. when I was growing up, and you grew up in the area, you're only 4 years, you're only 4 years
Well,
younger than
AM
me.
was all we had in the car in 1975,
Right,
right? We were little boys,
right,
right? Literally,
right,
right? Yeah.
right. So we had it all. So we got to enjoy all facets of music because nothing was held away from us. You know, we had Don Kirshner. Hi, I'm Don Kirshner, and this is Rock Concert. Tonight we have Parliament and Funkadelic and Grand Funk and Iron Butterfly. See you in a minute.
But
Like,
we
what
had
is that
that
kind of
Don
stuff? Like,
Cornelius too now. Come on, right?
yeah, we had Don Cornelius with the Soul Train. I mean, it was all, we had it all. That's what I'm trying to say. Well, all I'm trying to say is,
Then MTV came
yeah,
and it
well,
changed everything.
well, hey, it must move on, but it's coming right. The cool thing is, things are coming to right back to where they started. But you just got to kind of grab them on an individual basis.
Has
You
there
know,
been a point where you didn't do stand up for a long period of time, or have you always been sort of working on your chops? And I always want to ask, as a writer, that you had this outlet as a young man and this team to do when you had something, boom, it could be on TV in a week or two. In your case, as
what
you get
at the
older,
right time.
how does this work?
Uh, Comedy is the backbone. Comedy is Tom Brady has football. Bruce Lee has martial arts. Michael Jordan has basketball. You know, the things that are the foundation. And then you move up from there to whatever you want to do. But the foundation for me is stand up. And it's something that I never really stopped doing. Unlike athletics, you know, you can play longer, you know. I mean, serious,
Always fresh
Um,
material for you out there
yeah,
too, right?
always. But as far as, being diverse, got to watch that word. I don't even like to say the word, diversity. I don't even like to say it. All of a sudden, people will be on the radio, this radio station going, "What about it? What about diversity? What are you saying about it? So it's just there, and that's the start, and that's where I go from. I go from that center, and I go from there, and I branch off into all these other roads. There's the television road. There's the animation road. There's the media road. There's all these roads. There's a musician road. There's the Broadway or the play road, the theater road. It doesn't really end with me. It
I
just
love when
keeps
that road when you were giving the
growing.
families vacations. That's just a beautiful thing, man. And
Oh,
that'll change your heart, won't it? That'll change your
wasn't
heart.
that wasn't that show hot? Oh my
Yeah,
God, I
anything that
love
can
that
make you
show.
feel good, especially, during the plague or after the plague, right?
Yes.
Like after all we've been
Yeah.
through.
We had a couple from Baltimore, a lesbian couple from Baltimore who had got married recently. And one of them had a child from a previous marriage and choked on a piece of candy and died.
Oh man.
Okay. They never went to their honeymoon because of it. We took them on a cruise around the world. They went and to Tahiti and all these beautiful places, did all these beautiful things. Um, we were fortunate enough to cast their son's ashes at sea.
Oh wow.
We redid their vows with the captain of the ship.
They're here in Baltimore. I got to get a crab cake with them. You should come up here and get a crab cake one day with them and just tell the whole story, make everybody cry, and we'll talk about Tahiti, man. It'd be great. I got to hear the whole story now. I'm going to have to go watch the episode, bro.
I'm taking you up on that. I'm taking you
No.
up on
No,
that.
see, I do with the Maryland
Sure.
Crab Cake Tour. That's why I'm doing the Crab Cake Tour on Friday. Tommy Davidson's here. Let's see,
Can I
comedian.
stop by that thing? Can I stop by there?
State Fair, 9 a.m. till noon. You come by anytime you want. I'll make you
Where
breakfast.
is it?
It's
I'll
right in
find out. I'll find out.
Catonsville. It's right in Catonsville.
I know where
212, right
Kaysville
on the
is.
Bellwell. Yeah, it's right halfway between Silver Spring and Baltimore. A little closer to Baltimore,
I
though.
know where it is. I know where it is. Yeah,
How
yeah, yeah. I know
often
where
do
it is.
you get home, and do you consider this home?
Yeah, I do. That's home. And I don't get there that often. I may come back to about 3 or 4 times a year to 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 do comedy or entertainment or to see my sister and my family and my friends. And boy, do I got a lot. I got a lot. I grew up in a place called Rosemary Hills in Summit Hills, general area, 16th and East West Highway, or it could be even Georgia Avenue and Colesville Road, depending upon how you come into it.
Not far from the city line,
And
though, right? Pretty close, right?
right near the city line, and close to Chevy Chase and Silver Spring. It's there. My friends that I grew up with in that neighborhood, hundreds and hundreds of kids, you know, now my age and a bit younger, but we're all still in contact. It was a very strong community and a very diverse community for its kind. And thanks to my mom, it was a co-op community where tenants could actually buy their apartments. And she worked for the Housing and Urban Development and was responsible for all these different changes in housing, which was real interesting.
Tommy, I
So
talk about it here all the time,
yeah,
affordable housing, because I do a lot with Baltimore Positive, with
yeah,
politicians,
yeah.
and through all of this. And obviously during
Baltimore, right?
COVID,
Yeah,
oh man, people being evicted, like, just all of
yeah,
the worst, right? And
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
give a lift up, right? That was your mom, right?
yeah, definitely. And we're talking about some great cities, some really great cities with a lot of different types of people. And so I'm proud to be a part of that whole triangle of where we come from, and it's a part of who I am. And I plan on coming back. I plan on coming back and doing some things, some businesses and stuff there, and really getting involved in the area. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be giving an award to a really good friend of mine who goes and visits the prisons for women who are there for long term. And I actually hooked her up with a woman there from Baltimore that has a foundation that helps human trap women caught in human trafficking internationally, and she's giving her the award. And all I had to do was hook them up on the phone, and it happened.
Power of proximity and relationships. Tommy Davidson give me a little
Uh,
education here today. He'll be at the Baltimore Comedy Factory on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And if you don't want to watch a football game, go see Tommy. He'll make you laugh. And this is the last thing for you. Comedy's a little more dangerous. I mean, you talked about this a little bit in regard
uh,
to diversity and what you can
right.
say and what you can't
Oh my
say.
God.
And I've
Yeah.
talked to so many comedians in the modern era, and I guess really over the last decade, where things have changed and we've seen incidents in clubs and people are more easily offended and thin skin and all that. Certainly not the range you want to be in coming to the Baltimore Comedy Factory this weekend. But has it changed your job fundament? Not your job, but
No,
how you go about your job.
I got real fortunate on that one. I was being prodded by people in my family and people who are doing comedy. You got to have more edge like these other guys. You got to have more edge. Well, what does edge mean? Edge to me means that you don't laugh anymore. You just go, ooh. And I don't care. I got into comedy to make people laugh and not go, oh, oh, whoa, oh, whoa. I got into comedy to see people go,
Where's the line though, where you're being mean or not being mean or being funny or being the eyes
right,
open up
right,
and
right,
wherever,
right.
because you never know where
I
the
would
end of
say,
that
yeah,
plank is, and the end of that plank's
yeah,
different for every person, right?
yeah.
Literally.
And I would think that was and I would give that to the comedy of the beholder.
Well, I'm looking forward to beholding your comedy, and I really appreciate you spending a little time. I know your window's short. 5 shows this weekend. Tommy
I'm,
Davidson's
I need
here.
to be holding those camp crab cakes.
Dude, done.
Beholder,
Listen,
I'm gonna be holding me one of those.
you
Are you
don't know
crazy?
you just think you're talking to a guy with strangely long hair who's, genuinely younger looking
I
than he
did see
appears.
the I did
But
see the bun
the
from like a
truth well, that's the COVID do. It just
yeah,
started
yeah.
growing and then it was curly. My wife's like, "You look Italian. You look like Furio in The Sopranos."
Yeah, yeah.
But for me, this crab cake thing, I've had more crab cakes in more places. I pride myself on this than anybody I've met to date. So I've
Okay,
done two and a
okay,
half years of crab cakes. We've gone all over the
okay,
state. We've had them on the Eastern Shore,
okay,
West,
okay.
everywhere there is to have a crab cake. And you know what it's done? It's stimulated diversity of conversation. It's allowed me to
Okay.
sit down in an era with anyone and talk about anything over a beer, an iced tea, a vodka, Bloody Mary, and a crab cake. And in your case, one of each would be fine if you want to stop by on Friday. But it really a pleasure to have you on, a pleasure to have you back. My wife's going to interview you next time because she's a big fan, and I'll let her know we had a good time together. And hope you do great. Hey, everybody, get out to Baltimore Comedy if you want to find the Tommy Davidson. I don't even talk about your book, dude. Next time on, we got to talk about book and memoirs. All right?
We'll get it. All right.
Thank you for the great conversation. I appreciate
it. Oh, one more thing.
Go ahead.
Is it just me, or did that receiver for the Ravens almost catch that touchdown?
Hey, don't be talking. Listen, I was going to talk.
No. Did you see that?
Yeah, he laid out. He didn't catch it. It didn't happen. The season's over. Listen, I was going to say to you, you were talking all those nice things about Silver Spring, and I'm thinking, I'm sure they're nice people, but they were Washington football fans down there. You know what I mean? This Baltimore-Washington thing, we all,
I know.
The ties that bind, maybe.
Always the ties that bind. Yeah, I know.
Capitals, Wizards.
I'm a Viking fan.
All right, well, you're suffering too. All right, we're all suffering.
Yeah,
we're all wearing purple and we're all suffering.
There's also Tommy Davidson. There's purple going on in the background. I thought you were trying to make me mad. You know what I mean? So,
Tommy Davidson, the heart of In Living Color. He'll be in your heart, certainly in our community. A Marylander by birth, but a Washington football fan by choice. BaltimoreComedy.com is the way to find the tickets, and you can find him at TheTommyDavidson.com as well as on social media. And wherever wherever free laughs are sold is what I would say. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. You never know who's going to show up on the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. We're giving away some holiday cash drops as well as our friends at Window Nation on Friday at State Fair. We'll see you there. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore positive.